Applebee's new grilled cheese cheeseburger is so cheesy.
Want to try the cheese pull?
Yeah, I'll take this side.
Wow, now this is a cheese pull. Sorry.
I can't believe you get this and another entree like the chicken parmesan fettuccine.
Plus an appetizer for just $25.
Excuse me. This is incredible.
That's why I always come to Applebee's for the 2 for $25 deal.
What?
Limited time price participation and selection may vary. Tax and gratuity excluded.
It's still going.
This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. The weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. PrizePicks takes your weekend to a new level. We're talking easy stuff. You know what you're doing. More or less. Like Saquon Barkley, more or less than 1 rushing touchdown. Games with Patrick Mahomes, more or less than 2.5 passing touchdowns. You know what we're talking about. We're playing fantasy. We're playing DFS. Jump in the PrizePicks app. You will not regret it. It makes the weekend so much more fun, and it's really easy to do. Just download the PrizePicks app today and use code DFS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code DFS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right.
To the Fantasy Footballers DFS and Betting Podcast with your hosts, Kyle Borganoni and Matthew Betz.
Well, happy Halloween, everyone. October 31st here, Fantasy Footballers DFS and Betting Podcast. I'm your host today, Tyler Warren, and I'm joined as always by Matthew. Does it get any better, Betz?
You look great, man. Every year, you resemble the NFL's best tight end very well for Halloween. Last year we had Kate Otten with his taped fingies. This year, Tyler Warren. I mean, you look great, man. You'll have to post a picture because this is an audio-only podcast, which is not great for Halloween, but you'll have to post a picture in Discord, hopefully on your Twitter as well. Yeah, happy Halloween to everybody out there. It should be a fun weekend. Our trick-or-treat night, unfortunately, got pushed back because of weather concerns. So we're delayed by a day, but
Are the
I am
girls
looking forward.
okay?
Yeah, I mean, we've been practicing for like a week and a half straight. They're very excited this year. But I've been hammering at home, like, okay, girls, when you go, when you're looking for which candy to get, which store to go to, all those things, we've been talking about it. Dad and mom like Reese's peanut butter cups. So we've been drilling that home for the last week, so I hope I get a lot of those. Do you have a favorite Halloween candy?
I'm a sour, just anything guy. So, and I don't really like chocolate candy very much, and I don't like chocolate peanut butter. So what you just said makes no sense to me.
Wow. So you're more of like a Warheads kind of guy?
Maybe not Warheads, but like any type of like sour Starburst. They're not around as much anymore, but I was a big fan of that. Right now, my favorite candy is Jolly Rancher Chews. Those slap. I'm a huge fan of those.
You know what reminds me of childhood when you're thinking about sour candy? Those Sour Punch straws.
Dude, the mini ones I pretty much have once a week.
Oh man, there was nothing better. Going to the ballpark, playing a couple baseball games, then later after the game, Mom, can I have money for a hot dog and Sour Punch straws? And when she would say no, it's crushing. When she would say yes, your whole day is made. So that definitely brings back some childhood memories there. But yeah, I'm not a huge sour candy fan. My wife's kind of into that stuff. Not for me, more of just chocolate and peanut butter. So we'll see if the girls can come through for Dad.
I do have a bit of work ahead of me because I have to finish building my son's Jamaican bobsled because he's dressing up as one of the Jamaican bobsledders from, of course, Cool Runnings, which is who I will be for the kids' Halloween. I do a football one, and then I do one for the kids. So I still have to finish building that tonight.
Dude, Dad of the Year over there. Look at this guy.
I can't tell if it's more for him or me, though.
I think you're happier about it and more excited than maybe he is.
I do like dressing up. Like Betz asks me every year, it's like, dude, this is an audio podcast. Like I think it's very fun. Halloween's fine, but like the art of picking out a character ahead of time. Like let's be honest. I knew I was going to be Tyler Warren for Footballers Halloween for months.
I was going to say, I think you messaged me like mid-August and you're like, I got it. I'm like, dude, the season hasn't even started yet. You're like, nope, I got it.
I was Arthur Smith one year. I was Dan Campbell one year. That was a fun year too. But yeah, it's a fun week. You and I were talking about the slate. I actually think it's really tough for cash. I mean, we'll talk about some of the builds and the way that you could structure your lineup, but it's just not easy. There's a lot of games that I think are viable from a stacking standpoint. There is one team, though, that you and I are on the same page, which definitely means things could go way south. But we are just over the moon about this week. So we'll talk about that on this podcast, talk about the games you want to stack up, our slate breakers. We will prop it like it's hot, and then give you our survivor pick, which hopefully will not be a sweat at all this week. If you want all of our picks, dfspass.com, DraftKings, FanDuel. In the optimizer, you could, sort by any way you want. And one of the things I like to do, especially at this point in the week, is sort by GPP value. So looking at tournaments, I can go and sort by certain players based on how we have them projected, and then at their salary, what they need to do to pay off. And you can kind of quickly see, like, okay, here are the players on the slate that are projecting really well that I want to make sure I add to my tournament pool. So dfspass.com, if you want to use the promo code DFSPOD, you can save a little quiche on that and then make the quiche back when you get some winnings this week. But moving on.
Straight cash, homie.
Yeah, I got a feeling, man. And it's just that I go into cash slates feeling really comfortable, not comfortable. I don't know. I guess last week I went camping, came back, threw in Tyler Johnson, and then cash. So maybe I don't know anything.
The most important thing you can do this weekend is log off on Saturday.
Yep.
All vibes based. That's the best way to play this game. I agree with you. It is a little bit of a challenge, especially as we record right now, and as we get more information later today on Friday and into the weekend. We're still waiting on some injuries and things like that. But I thought it'd be kind of clear because there's a lot of really good, I think, scoring environments on the slate. Like, there's a ton of teams with a team total north of 25 on the slate. So, like, it's not hard to find teams that Vegas expects to perform well. The problem is some of those spots don't have areas where, like, the targets and opportunities are going to condense a lot, and or there's a lot of expensive plays that are super exciting, and obviously you can't fit all of those. So I do think it's a tricky slate for cash. I'm with you on that. I think at quarterback, if we want to start the conversation there, on DraftKings, I really want to figure out how to play Christian McCaffrey, one of Puka or Jamar Chase, assuming health on Joe Flacco, which we're still waiting on that, and maybe Rashee Rice. And so to do that, I've kind of found myself looking at the mid to low 5K range, which kind of throughout the season is like how we've played cash for the most part on DK.
For sure.
I really want Joe Flacco to play for this Caleb Williams play to have a little more life to it. Like, if it's Jake Browning, could you see the game going back and forth as much as if it's Joe Flacco dropping back, 43 times? Probably not, but I still think Caleb will be highly efficient against the Bengals. No Trey Hendrickson. They've just been absolutely crushed this year. They're bottom 3 in whatever metric you look at for quarterbacks, so the matchup is there for Caleb. And then if you wanted to go even lower, I think Jackson Dart is interesting. He's only 5,200 on DraftKings taking on the Niners, and on the surface, the Niners are a good defense, but again, they've got so many injuries. No Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Bryce Huff, their edge rusher, is likely to be out again. We saw what C.J. Stroud did to this defense last week without Nico Collins, without Christian Kirk. So Jackson Dart, man, like, quietly has 18.6 plus DraftKings points in every start he's made this year. And at this tag, like, if you're getting 16 to 18 points for cash, that seems pretty doable. So I actually really like Jackson Dart if you want to save money this week.
Yeah, he's averaging over 8 rushing fantasy points per game so far in his 5 starts. So if you knew you were getting that type of floor, 6, 7, 8 points, whatever, and then as a passer, let's say he throws 1, like, you definitely can pay off at 5.2. So he's going to project really well. Caleb's going to project well. And I just want to mention Mahomes. We'll talk about that game between Kansas City and Buffalo. I like, if you can go there with Mahomes or Allen, I'm totally fine with that in cash because they're good. But I think you will run into a pricing issue if you want to pay up for somebody like CMC. And this week, I think the builds are going to lend itself towards maybe having 2 stud wide receivers in the mix. So you have to pay down somewhere. And usually that ends up punting at tight end, or that 5K range that we've kind of seen all throughout the year has worked really, really well. We used to be able to pay that for, like, our buddy Drake May. He's 6,500 against the Falcons at home. He's fine too. I just think pricing wise, you don't really need to go there this week. So on FanDuel, I will probably be paying up for Mahomes or Allen.
Yeah, it's a little easier to fit those guys over there, especially because at running back you get really cheap tags on guys like Jalen Warren and Tyron Tracy. Tracy's only 6K on FanDuel. relative to DraftKings, he's a pretty decent value. He's good value on both sides, but really good value on FanDuel for Tyron Tracy. So it does make those expensive quarterback builds a little bit easier. I'm with you. I really like the spot for Mahomes. Again, we'll talk about that game here in a minute. But the pass rate's going to be there. They throw a ton inside the red zone. They're going to win or lose this game, whether or not, it's on Mahomes' shoulder. He's going to be the engine here. So I do like him there. And then just same argument for Caleb. 7,300 is a really good tag as well for him over on FanDuel. Again, I really wish Joe Flacco was playing. It's crazy how much Joe Flacco matters to the slate. Like, if you told me that back in August, I'd say you're crazy. But Jake Browning has just been a disaster when he's been there. So, and the Bears have actually kind of tried to hide Caleb recently. They're among the most run-heavy teams in the league in the last month or so. And I think they've got a bunch of wide receivers popped up on the injury report this week. With the matchup the way it is, you can run on the Bengals. I think the efficiency will be there. I'm not sure how much passing volume we're going to get from Caleb. But again, he's in play on both sides. Yeah,
just to give you some numbers, in 3 Joe Flacco starts, the Bengals have averaged 30 points per game. In 3 Jake Browning starts, they've averaged 12.3 points per game. So
not great.
Definitely not great at all. At running back, there are a lot of 5K guys that I think will be in the mix this week. Jaylen Warren at 5.5 is probably the name that fits best because you add in the game environment against the Colts. He's seeing 17 opportunities per game. It's solid. Even last week when they were losing, he saw 33% of the team's total workload. I just worry about, so when people start building and then they look at these 5K running backs, I'm seeing Tracy in the mix for a lot of people this week just because he's cheap. He's 5,100. The Kansas City running backs even, Hunt's under 5K if Pacheco is truly out. I see all that. Travis Etienne, 5.6, fine tag. I can see roster constructions where people take 2 of those 5K guys and you are missing out on so many other running backs on this slate that have higher ceilings. So any initial thoughts at running back?
Yeah, I think I'm with you. Like in small field, I've been trying to do this in tournaments where it's who do I think are the good running back chalk plays? And usually I'll play, if there's 3 or 4 that stick out, I'll limit myself to maybe 2 of them. If there's 2 that stick out, I'll limit myself to 1 to not just play what the cash teams are all playing. And I think you will see a lot of in cash this week, probably McCaffrey, Warren, Tracy teams.
Yes.
So, and for cash, those probably project very well. It's fine. The workload should be there. But I will probably be trying to get off that combination of those 3 specifically in tournaments just to limit how much roster percentage I'm playing in lineup. So I'm with you in that. I think that will be the, quote unquote chalk build. That said, I think for cash games, those guys are fine. Like you said, Warren, before the injury happened, was getting everything for Pittsburgh. Then he had the injury with the knee, the bye week. They kind of eased him back in the week after. And then the last 2 weeks, it's pretty much been a really, really strong workload. And you can run on the Colts. Teams are throwing on the Colts because the Colts are just dominating, get out to a huge lead every week. But their actual behind the scenes numbers, they're 26 in rush success rate allowed. They've given up 10th most yards before contact per attempt. So you can run on the Colts. And then as far as Tracy's concerned, he scores points the way that we like in fantasy, right? He catches the football. He's highly efficient. I don't know that I would love playing him with Dart personally.
I can't do that.
But both guys, for the Giants should definitely make your pool.
Well, it's just interesting because CMC is probably going to be the most popular cash game running back. And then you have Dart, and then you have Tracy. I just can't see myself playing 3 players in that same game. The total is fine. It's at 48.5, but CMC is probably going to be up there. Kyron is also a play as a huge home favorite, basically 2 touchdown favorite at home. 6 point. I think he's the perfect blend of you scroll down from the expensive guys and you look at somebody in their implied total and you go, okay, well, this fits in what I'm doing in cash. And we know what Kyron is. We know that if he gets the red zone work, he's awesome. I'm always scared to play him on DraftKings because there are games where he just doesn't add as much as you want. He's never been an efficient pass catcher. But I think CMC, Kyron, and the 5K guys are going to be interesting. Kamani Vidal, you have him listed here. I think he's also going to enter the conversation because the Titans, I'm trying to figure out the right word, just are not actually a lot. They're not in the NFL, where it's just kind of like a courtesy. It's a make-a-wish thing.
Oh, my gosh. This is a Mike McCoy revenge game, Kyle. I'm not sure if you're aware of that. But yes, we saw what Jonathan Taylor has done to this team. We've seen what even Ashton Genty, remember, he couldn't get going early in the year. That was a get right spot against this Titans team. They are favored by, last I looked, the spread was 9.5. It's kind of bounced back and forth between like 10, 8.5, 9, like somewhere in that range. They're heavy favorites in here. Joe Alt is back healthy. Like things are trending in the right direction for the offensive line for the Chargers. And to Kamani Vidal's credit, when he has gotten the opportunity, he's been very good. We have 3 games now without Omari and Hampton. In those, he has touch counts of 21. Then he had the 13 in a negative game script against the Colts, and then 24 this past Thursday night, and he's played about 70% of the snaps. So he is getting like a true healthy RB1 workload. Tennessee 30th in schedule adjusted points allowed to running back. So I do like Kamani Vidal, but again, just kind of builds are going to be McCaffrey, and then like 2 probably of Vidal, Kyron, Warren, Tracy, most likely.
Gosh, there's so many other running backs between Kyron and CMC. It's like Bijan, I know people won't play him in cash, but Bijan could any week be awesome. Jahmyr Gibbs, who's been insanely good, leads the NFL in yards per carry. Josh Jacobs, I know he's banged up, but he's like multi-touchdown every single week. James Cook, who has gashed the Chiefs when we talk about this. So like lots of good running back plays that aren't the chalk cash guys that we just talked about.
Really good slate. Really good slate for running back pivots in tournaments.
At wide receiver, I do think people will want to spend up this week if Puka is back, and he should be back at 8.5 at home. Every stat you can think of, Puka is it's either him or JSN that are just leading the league in like efficiency metrics, first read targets, targets per hour, run, yards per hour, and they're the dudes. So Puka at 8.5 is not expensive enough for who he is. It will be tough if you get CMC and Puka. You're not going to be able to really pay up elsewhere on this slate. Like you can just cross off quarterback, and then you also have to figure out, are you going to be able to fit in Rashee Rice this week, who's 7.6 on the road at Buffalo? So do you have a ranking right now between Puka and Rice? Like Rice is your dude. You would play him every week if you could.
Well, it's a huge salary difference, right? I mean, it's almost $1,000 on DraftKings as far as their salary. $8,500 for Puka, and then $7,600 for Rice. Even with the more expensive tag, I think I prefer Puka if you're making me pick one. I think the real decision point is, are you spending up for Puka or Jamar Chase? And that will be answered very easily for me if it's not Joe Flacco. If it's not Joe Flacco, I think Puka is clearly the guy. At the same time, you can kind of poke holes in both, right? It's like you got quarterback health questions for Jamar Chase. I think Puka is probably very close to 100%, but maybe he's not truly 100% coming off the ankle injury. We don't expect Tyler Shuck to fight back much on the other side. I don't care about that in cash. Like Puka is going to get his. It's just a matter of, do you see Stafford forced to drop back here a ton in the second half? Probably not. So that's another thing to consider too. But yeah, I think Puka is just so secure, so locked in. Like for full PPR, it's pretty insane. He is averaging, prior to the injury, 12.4 targets per game and 8+ catches, 85+ yards in every game. So like, it's almost like if he doesn't hit the 100-yard bonus, it's kind of surprising, which is just crazy. So I think I lean Puka, but definitely all good options there at the top.
All right, I'm going to give you some cheaper options below 6K and then get real gross, because there are some names I'm actually intrigued a little bit lower on there. But our boy Pity City, we built this city, is 5.9. He's been playing. Dude, he's the wide receiver 7 on the season half-point leagues. He already has matched his career high in receiving touchdowns. And then this stat, I don't know if I'm just being mean or not, but he has more fantasy points in the second quarter this year than Jameson Williams has over the entire season.
Well, Jameson Williams is just here for cardio.
We'll talk about him more later. I put out some stats that maybe people don't like about Jameson Williams. Here's what happened. Here are the stats. Let's talk about what it could be. They're going after the bye. I think Jameson's going to change. I'm not playing him in cash by any means. Been there, done that. I will be adding Jameson into my tournament pool, but Pity City's a good play. And then I do have to differentiate here because DK, as in DK Metcalf, is 5.5. He's a good play. But Chimere DK, who is of the Titans, is 3.9. And since Brian Callahan came out of town, he's been a slot PPR monster. And I'm kind of interested if of the cheap plays, like I know he's going to be on the field, I know they're going to be down a ton, and I'm getting the type of volume I want for under 4K. So one of the DKs.
It's tough for pricing. It's kind of been the case all year, right? Like there's been no slam dunk sub 4K plays for the most part this year. We had that 1 week where the Commanders guys were out and we had like Chris Moore, but like, yeah, it's thin down there. So that makes the builds kind of tough as well. I don't hate that with DK. He's been good the last couple of weeks. Chimera DK, by the way. As far as DK Metcalf is concerned, it's like disappointing as far as his actual usage. Like when you look at target share, he's only seen a 21% target share this year. For a guy that's competing with, tight ends and Ben Skoranek for targets, like you would think that he'd be dominating, seeing 26, 27% at least, especially considering they paid him all that money. But he's kind of been capped. Not that can't change in 1 week. Of course, anything can happen. But he's been like capped at like 7 targets, 6 targets. Like he hasn't really had like the full PPR huge games. You need touchdowns and you need him to be efficient. The good news is the Colts have allowed the most catches in the league to wide receivers. Teams are throwing on Indy at the highest rate in the league, again, because the offense has been so good. Teams have been pushed on the other side. And so I don't know that I would want to play Metcalf and Jalen Warren together in a cash lineup personally, but I think both are strong there as well. And DK Metcalf is certainly in my article on the site, and he definitely is making my player pool this week. As far as a consideration there, it's a pretty good tag at 5.5.
The other guys that will show up as values, Travis Hunter, 4,700. Obviously, it's still a wild card of how they're going to be used, but he's coming off the bye. And right before the bye, he had some fun garbage time points. Juwan Jennings, who we loved last year, played a ton, 4,300. I guess somebody has to catch the ball. That's kind of like, because Ricky Pearsall doesn't. He's not coming back.
Oh, slick Rick. He burned too bright. You know what's going to happen this year, Kyle?
No.
Just like last year, pretty much irrelevant till like Thanksgiving. And then you're going to be like, if you didn't draft him in best ball, I told you guys. I told you. And then he's going to come back in week 15, 16, 17 and be the hammer you need. Book it.
Is Ricky the guy that she told you not to worry about?
Yes.
Gosh, man. Last year I thought I had him, and he got me.
Had us in the first half, not going to lie.
It's a PCL sprain. That's what it is?
Correct.
Okay. Apparently, that's a big deal. I don't know what that is. Please explain to me what that is.
It's a ligament on the inside of your knee, directly behind the ACL. It pretty much zaps your like explosiveness for roughly 6 weeks, give or take, depending on the severity. But yeah, anytime you see that, you should expect players to miss more time than the public thinks, as we've seen with Brock Bowers.
I love it in the sense of you getting to share that stuff with me because I just take your word for it every single time. All right, a couple of tight ends we need to bring up. It's the high, middle, low. If you want to spend up, Tyler Warren's going to look great, as always, because he's Tyler Warren, 5.5. George Kittle at 4.8, and then Theo Johnson at 3.5. It is interesting because we've been talking about 49ers and Giants a lot, and there is a certain point in my cash lineup where I don't want to overexpose myself to 49ers and Giants. But do you have a lean between these three right now?
Yeah, it's tough. I haven't really built like lineups, to be honest with you. I love this spot for Tyler Warren. I know you do too. We'll talk about that. Kittle just staring us in the face at 4,800 when you kind of consider like he's cheaper than Rondé Gadsden. Just feels like at some point the pendulum will swing here and we'll have a huge Kittle game. For what it's worth, Kittle has seen his snaps and routes increase in back-to-back weeks off the hamstring, so he is getting closer to 100%. So I'm definitely interested there, whether or not it's cash or tournaments. And then, yeah, I think Theo Johnson's like a totally fine punt play if you did want to go there, just considering kind of what's going on with the Giants pass catchers. And then as well, Daniel Bellinger left last week with a neck injury, I believe it was. So you could see even more opportunity there for Theo. If you wanted to completely punt it off, I don't think that's the worst idea in the world. But there's nothing that's like a slam dunk this week at tight end, I would say, given the pricing structure.
I don't like defense this week, man, because I feel like I'm tempted to want to pay up for the heavy favorites. You're paying up for the Chargers against some quarterback named Cam Ward, who's still trying to figure out the NFL. The Rams at home. Both of those teams are really expensive, 3,800 and 3,900. The Lions at 3,700 are also like going to project really, really well against JJ McCarthy. But I can't pay all of that and get my Puka, my CMC, all the players I want to. So any punt options that you're thinking about?
This is gross. I think the Falcons are fine.
Okay.
I mean, I don't trust them at all. And Drake May is playing out of his mind. But the one thing Drake May is still doing is taking sacks. He has taken the second most sacks in the league behind only Cam Ward. So they're 2,500. They're not favored, so I don't love that. They're on the road, don't love that. But when you're thinking about how do I fit the best plays on the slate, you have to save money somewhere, and defense is usually where I try to do that. I will say for tournaments, though, man, like spending up on the Chargers or the Rams against Tyler Shuck in his first career start does actually intrigue me this week, just to like flip the build, but also sometimes I think of defense and we're like, oh, they don't have that high of a ceiling. Like, could you see Tyler Shuck falling on his face against the Rams team off the bye?
Oh,
I certainly could. And then as far as the Titans, like if you've just played defenses against Cam Ward this year, like you pretty much had success every week. So I think they're interesting for tournaments. But again, spending up that much on a defense and cash always makes me a little queasy. In the mid-range, I think Houston's fine against Bo Nix. You know, Nix has kind of had an up and down year, but we know Houston is a legit good defense. They're number one in points per game allowed. They can rush the passer. On the other side, I'm not sure I believe what CJ Stroud did last week is the new normal, you know, against San Francisco's backups. So you get Denver, who's one of the best defenses in the league. This total is like 39.5. It's the lowest on the slate. So if you just wanted to pick one of those two defenses in a low-scoring game, I think that's fine as well for cash. But certainly, like most weeks, this is the case. But at least for sure this week, like this is not what's going to decide my cash lineup. I'm going to build and see what I have left and go from there.
Yep. The expensive guys, Houston or Denver, or then punting with Atlanta. I'm fine with any of that. Ramondre Stevenson not at practice as of this recording on Thursday.
Oh, baby. What is Trayvon Henderson's salary?
All I know is I've been starting him every single week.
$900 on DraftKings, Kyle.
Don't tempt me with a good time,
that could actually change the entire slate. So make sure you're tracking that in best plays on Saturday.
Wow. I'm here for TreVeyon Henderson week. I just didn't know it'd be against my Falcons.
You can run on the Falcons.
You can do whatever you want on the Falcons. But did you know? So if you listen to Thursday's main footballers, they preview the game, Falcons and Patriots. And Jason was basically talking about like, what is this team? Like, what are the Falcons? And he goes, this is the type of game where nobody thinks they should do anything. They're counted out that they would show up.
The look-ahead line, I don't know if you saw this, it was 2.5. So like the market...
I'm seeing 5.5 though right now.
No, I know. I'm saying before the Dolphins game.
Oh, gotcha.
The market kind of had like Patriots and Falcons like kind of even. And then it ballooned up to, I think, 6.5. And then money came in on Atlanta, and now it's down to 5.5. I actually had the same thought. It's like, because of the NFL, that's how the NFL is, right? Like,
exactly.
You think whatever you just saw the week before is like the new normal, and so then the market reacts, and we know things change. Yeah, I do think the Falcons can at least put up a fight here. I don't know if they win, but yeah, we'll see. But real quick on TreVeyon, he is 5,300 on FanDuel as well. He could open up the slate. That's all I'll say. We've also seen some rumblings of like trade rumors for the Pats, and I think the issue here for Ramondre is a turf toe injury. So we'll see.
All right, let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Want to show your cat just how much you love them? Start with Wellness Pet Food for meals that turn love into well-being that your cat can taste and you can see. If your kitty loves real shreds of chicken and fish, or maybe they prefer culinary crafted recipes packed with protein. With vet-recommended, scientifically proven nutrition and high-quality ingredients in wellness recipes, every picky kitty can find a meal with taste, texture, and variety they adore. Wellness Pet Food. Feed well, be well.
Applebee's new grilled cheese cheeseburger is so cheesy.
Want to try the cheese pull?
Yeah, I'll take this side.
Wow, now this is a cheese pull. Sorry.
I can't believe you get this and another entree like the chicken parmesan fettuccine.
Plus an appetizer for just $25.
Excuse me. This is incredible.
That's why I always come to Applebee's for the 2 for $25 deal.
What?
Limited time price participation and selection may vary. Tax and gratuity excluded.
It's still going.
Before we get into the matchups, I did want to bring up something from Steve Smith, the former wide receiver. Now, gets to commentate on a lot of stuff about wide receivers, but he was talking about Keon Coleman, who's somebody we've talked about a little bit on this podcast. And his quote was, "He ain't the guy. He can't get separation. Get off the jam. He doesn't have it. You can't teach a dog how to bark. You either got it or you don't. Okay? Jameson Williams, another wide receiver we have talked about many times on this podcast. They asked him about his lack of receiving production. He said, "I'm not frustrated. How could I be frustrated? I'm me." Wide receivers are a strange bunch, man.
Steve Smith just like publicly trashing these dudes is good content. That's what we're here for. I love that he brought up the separation thing. It's so
dude,
funny. He definitely listens to the show. I mean, Steve, how you doing, buddy? It's so good. I was hoping to come into this and be like, there's a data point in this Chiefs game that I'm excited to talk about that maybe Keon Coleman. I don't know if I can, man. I don't know if I can.
You're not wrong. All right, let's get into it.
Stack Attack.
First game we have to talk about is Chiefs and Bills because it's going to be the game that everybody and your entire family talks about this weekend. Okay, this is the 10th matchup between Mahomes and Josh Allen. The over-under's at 52.5. The Chiefs are 1.5-point road favorites. I do need to throw it out that both teams play pretty slow. Like the Bills are 32nd in seconds per play. The Chiefs are 22nd. And Chiefs games have only combined for 42.5 points on average, which is 25th in the NFL. So there are routes where this game hits the under. And then going back the last couple years, it's hit the over 3 times, but those totals were also like 45, 46, 48.5. So what's your read just first overall of like this line, 52.5?
It feels right, if I'm being honest, because I can paint a case to the under. I also can see a path where this one goes over, because when you think about like the Bills and how they are playing defense, where it's like, you know, cover 2 shells, let people run the ball, give up stuff underneath. And then you think about the Chiefs, and when I picture the Chiefs offense, like I just picture Mahomes peppering Rashee Rice after the catch, Travis Kelce in the middle of the field, stuff like that. So it kind of plays like directly into what the Chiefs want to do. On the other side of the ball, you can run on Kansas City, and the Bills might have one of the most dynamic, explosive rushing games in the league. We talked about that last week with James Cook, where it's like, I don't know, man, Carolina coming in, number 1 in rush success rate, and they laughed at us, and the offensive line went crazy, and James Cook did his thing. Like, they are one of the best rushing attacks in the league. And you think about the wide receiver firepower that they lack, basically, I think the way that the Bills want to play this game is through the run game. So it sets up well as like a strength on strength type of matchup for me. And I could see both quarterbacks really going all out, doing whatever they have to do, running, scrambling, all those things to keep drives alive and try to win this game. Like the Bills, they need this win. Thinking about, you know, where the Patriots are at in the standings, same thing for the Chiefs. They need this win. So this is a huge, huge matchup for both teams. I expect both offenses to put out their best effort here. And so I actually lean over, but I could see a path when the under comes in.
The only player that I think is going to get a lot of roster percentage is Rashee Rice in this game. So it does present itself as a game, if you stack it the right way, that you can get some leverage on the field, despite how popular it's, you know, in terms of the NFL media and everything else it's going to be. The problem is you usually just want a skinny stack, and then there's some random touchdown out there to Tyquan Thornton or Hollywood Brown or, you know, any other random wide receiver. Keon Coleman, for instance. You know, let's say he separates on a play. Dude could catch a touchdown.
He could, and he's cheap. I mean, on
we're not
FanDuel,
telling you to play these people.
No. I'm not like recommending like great play this week. But when you think about Keon Coleman's like path to hitting the optimal, it's probably 50-ish yards and a touchdown, maybe 2 touchdowns. At 5,200 on FanDuel, like that's probably okay. So I don't mind that. I will say my favorite wide receiver play from the Buffalo Bills is Khalil Shakir, where you just kind of hope he breaks a long one like we did last week, or he piles up some catches, that kind of thing if you're stacking Josh Allen. But my favorite play on Buffalo is easily James Cook. He's not going to get played a lot this week because he doesn't fit, like we talked about, that kind of like tiered pricing where it's like CMC and then the 5K guys. I think Cook's going to get lost in the shuffle this week. The Chiefs are 22nd in EPA per rush. They're 20th in rush success rate allowed. James Cook has crushed the Chiefs in the past. They're allowing the 11th most adjusted yards before contact. Like, this is a James Cook spot if there ever was one. The problem for me is I really wish he was involved in the pass game, man. Like, he's kind of a rushing attempt only guy recently.
He's Kyron.
Yeah, but he's efficient and explosive. So you need those long runs to happen to pay it off. But, in DFS tournaments, you're paying for the upside anyway. So I don't mind it. If you do think maybe the pass game comes back a little bit for James Cook, it is worth noting the Chiefs have faced the 4th highest target shared running back. So there is a little bit of data suggesting maybe we could see it. But either way, I will have some James Cook exposure for sure. I love this spot for him.
Yeah, remember we played him last year in the AFC Championship game that week, which, by the way, if you have the DFS pass, we go all the way through the playoffs. He had 28.4 DK points that week, and it does set up as a pretty great matchup, especially the Bills rank second in rush success rate on zone plays, and that's where the Chiefs have had issues throughout the year. So I do think James Cook is a strong play. If I am going to be stacking up Josh Allen, it's going to be Shakir or Kincaid. And then I think Rice is the easiest bring back on the other side. I do think Worthy is a really interesting pivot point in this game. If you're trying to get different, let's say you're getting chalky in your build and you are stacking up Josh Allen with the option and you don't play Rice, I think that you will gain a lot of leverage on the field. But Rice is a great play. I'm going to tell you to play him no matter what, especially in full PPR. But any takes on the Kansas City side?
Well, I do want to point out, so I think one of my favorite ways to play it is just like a mini maybe of James Cook and Rashee Rice, something like that. But if you did want to say, hey, the Chiefs win this game, the under actually comes in, and you want to kind of get leverage on the field and not really play it, Kareem Hunt is a gross play. But on FanDuel, could he get 50 rushing yards and fall in the end zone twice at 5,200 or 5,900, excuse me?
He would love that.
That would probably be viable depending on the size of the tournament you're playing in. So he's not sexy. It's a very gross play, but he is cheap, and you can run all over the Bills. They won't have both starting defensive tackles. Shaq Thompson popped up on the injury report, one of their edge players / linebackers. So they've got some really key injuries in the interior defensively. You can run on the Bills, and if I'm the Bills defense, I'm saying, please hand the ball off to Kareem Hunt 15 times in this game. I would love if you did that and not let Mahomes go Superman mode. So I think Hunt, if you did want to just say, look, this game fails, but Hunt falls in the end zone twice, I think is viable. Again, because he is so cheap, you're not really asking him to break the slate. So it's disgusting, but I do think it is viable without Pacheco.
All right, my Vegas take on this game, because I think Mahomes and Rice is going to be the most popular plays, and then it is expensive if you want to do Mahomes, Rice, and Cook. You're running into a problem there in terms of pricing. But I think the Chiefs take care of business, so I take Chiefs -1.5.
I do too. I think they're just the healthier side, so I'll lay the 1.5 with KC.
Dude, you know that you can beat the Bills. They're beatable.
Ask the Falcons. They know.
I know. Falcons and Patriots, they understand. All right, next game, we're going to be pretty brief because we still have a lot of caveats with it. It's Chicago at Cincinnati. What's interesting about this game is that the totals held pretty steady. It's at 51.5. The Bears are 2.5-point road favorites. But this game's held steady despite the fact that we don't really know what Joe Flacco, as of this recording, he was spotted in uniform throwing. That doesn't tell me everything. If Flacco doesn't play, I'm not stacking up this game. Simple. I'm not doing it. I do think you can have some correlation plays, but I think my favorite play in this game is the running game with the Bears, because it's been cool to, it's one thing for a team to preach, we're going to run the ball, that's going to be our identity. It's another thing when they bring in offensive line pieces and a head coach like Ben Johnson, and you see that this offensive line has kicked butt the entire year. They're number one in adjusted line yards, and Bears running backs have been contacted behind the line of scrimmage at the third lowest mark in the season. Trey Hendrickson, the edge of the Bengals, is DMP / could be traded. Not sure where he's at.
He's not going to play.
So it just sets up well for DeAndre Swift. Now, he was missing practice. A lot of the Bears were missing practice on Wednesday. So follow those reports. Follow Betz when he gives his Injury Blitz podcast. But I'm just not super interested in this game the way I thought I was earlier in the week.
I'm with you. It's tough because I want to like Swift, but they're actually using Kyle Monangai kind of a lot. Swift has played, coming out of the bye week, 56 or fewer % of the snaps in all 3 games. And last week, you actually did see him only have 11 carries. So Kyle Monangai, it's not all garbage time stuff from Monangai. They are actually getting involved a little bit, especially at the goal line. So I was hoping to be more excited about Swift, just given the matchup, but he's been on the injury report for maybe 3 weeks in a row now, something like that. So is he 100% healthy? I'm not sure. So yeah, for me, I think playing into like low roster players in this game is certainly intriguing. If we get Joe Flacco, I think Flacco stacks are back in play for tournaments. It's a little shaky for me in cash just because of the health on Flacco, but in a tournament where you're just embracing the upside case anyway, that makes sense to me. I mean, Jamar Chase has seen like 50-something targets in 3 games with Flacco. Like, it's just absurd. So there are paths where this game is fun and exciting and goes off, but I do have some mild concerns that like Ben Johnson would love to just hide Caleb in this spot and kind of have a vanilla game plan and move on. And I think if it's not Joe Flacco, that's probably what they're going to do.
Yeah, you get to wait on that news, but Chicago's 27th in pass rate over expectation. I just think the line's a little fishy. So, but I think the game we are more excited to talk about, nay, thrilled to talk about, is the Colts and the Steelers. Okay. The line right now is the Colts -3. The over-under is at 50.5, which is rare to see a Steelers game. Like, whenever you see the Steelers involved, you're like, okay, well, it's going to be a slow slog. Like, the game's at 50.5. And really the question we have to ask ourselves, one, how good is this Colts offense? Because they've been incredible. 30-plus points in 6 of their first 8 games, 20 points in all their 8 games. And then the other question is, how bad is the Steelers defense? Because they are on pace to allow the 8th most passing yards of all time. So it's not the Steelers defense you're used to. And I just really love the Colts. And maybe I've said that before. And maybe it's because I'm wearing a Tyler Warren jersey. And maybe it's because I look like Tyler Warren. But man, I have to say this before we go any further. Why is this game not showing up higher in roster percentages?
I'm surprised. Like when I never log off, but when I logged in to look at the slate, Kyle.
Of course.
I immediately was like, man, I want to keep attacking this Pittsburgh defense. Like you said, I knew they'd been bad. We talked about that all year. I didn't realize they were on pace to allow the 8th most of all time. Since when is this?
Since forever.
All time.
All time.
I thought you were going to say like in the last decade.
No. We have extra game now, so there's a little bit of that. But they're allowing 273 passing yards per game, which is a lot in modern day NFL.
Yeah, the way I'm going to attack this slate is I'm going to play a lot of different iterations of Colts teams and hope I land on the right combinations. Like, you don't need us to tell you Jonathan Taylor can break the slate any week. He does every time he steps on the field. He's tough to fit, right? 9,800 on DraftKings, 11K on FanDuel. But if we get Travion Henderson or you get a cheap wide receiver in there, like, you can make it work. And I think because McCaffrey is going to be so popular, JT is going to be held in check, kind of like last week. Like, Jonathan Taylor was played, but because Bijan was soaking up so much roster percentage, in certain contests, he came in at like 20, 25%. So you could see that again this week with Jonathan Taylor. So just playing it as if a JT smashes game makes sense. I also love Daniel Jones this week. Quarterbacks that have faced the Steelers, like you said, are averaging almost 300 yards per game recently. 5 of the last 6 quarterbacks to face them have thrown for 2+ touchdowns. We know he can run. I don't think he's going to be played that much for like cash builds because of the like Mahomes or pay down for dart type of builds that we're going to see. So I actually really love Daniel Jones this week. And so if you love Jones, you got to love his pass catchers. And I know obviously we're over the moon for Tyler Warren this week. So why don't you highlight some of the Warren splits, because this sets up as like an unbelievable spot for him.
Oh, I'm ready to talk about it. So I mentioned earlier in the week, and I'll say it again, 78% of Tyler Warren's fantasy points this year have come in the first half of games. If you have him in home leagues or use him in DFS, you're like, sweet, I got a touchdown. Now, where is he the second half of game? It's the highest rate of any player this year, of any wide receiver or tight end. The way that the Steelers play defense, it's actually really extreme scheme compared to everybody else in the league. So they run the 3rd highest rate of single high safety looks. They run the 5th highest rate of man coverage, and they blitz at the 3rd highest rate. Betz, you and I watched that Packers game. We talked about that Packers game on the Dynasty Podcast. How did it go for Jordan Love when the Steelers decided to blitz?
He was out of his mind. He completed 20 straight passes against that defense. And like Tomlin's, like, he's an all-time coach. He's been great over the last years. He's making very suboptimal decisions week in and week out, and just saying, we're blitzing no matter what. This is what we do. Even though we're getting killed, we're still going to keep doing it. And punting when he should be going for it. are things that are going to hurt him in this game. So if he sticks with the same, this is what we do, we're the old school Steelers, this is how we play, I think Daniel Jones and the Colts go bonkers here and just kind of run it up a little bit. So yeah, against the blitz, Jordan Love was unbelievable in that game Sunday night.
Yeah, they had a yak tight end named Tucker Kraft who went wild. The Colts happen to have the yak tight end this year alongside Tucker Kraft of Tyler Warren. I just think this sets up really well for him in terms of those matchups. And then single high safety looks, I put out this stat earlier, but the Steelers are doing it 63% of the time. It's the third highest rate in the NFL. In other words, on all the dropbacks, this is happening literally 2/3 of the time, this type of look. And the player that leads the Colts in every single receiving category, targets per out run, yards per out run, first read target, all the stuff we care about, it's Alec Pierce, dude. And you told me earlier this week, you go, man, I really like Alec Pierce. You and I started going back and forth about it, and I go, I think we really like Alec Pierce this week. So but here's the thing that I keep coming back to. I started this conversation with none of the Colts right now in our optimizer, and I checked 2 other ones just to make sure we're not crazy. None of them are being projected for over 10% of the field. Like Jonathan Taylor is the highest, and he's like 8-9%, which still makes him a great GPP play. The only players in this game that are catching roster percentage are Jalen Warren and DK Metcalf, who are both 5,500. So what this says to me is I will be playing a lot of Colts, and if you want to pick Metcalf or Warren as a bringback, I'm totally fine with that. It just sets up really well. I also have to whisper this, and you will hate this. I like Calvin Austin as a little dart throw.
Okay, I don't mind that as a large field, low roster guy. Yeah, the bottom line is like the Colts look like a great spot to attack because I trust them to put up points. We talked on Tuesday. I like the over on their team total. It's affordable, right? I mean, Taylor's expensive, obviously, but you could play, Daniel Jones with like Alec Pierce and Tyler Warren as a double stack. It's pretty cheap. You'll get leverage off Michael Pittman, who, I mean, Pittman's fine in his own right, but you'll get a little leverage there. And then on the other side, you can either take the leverage point off Metcalf and Warren with someone like Austin, or you could just play one of the good chalky pieces because you're not going to have a ton of roster percentage on the Colts side. So it's good to play, find a place in chalk on Pittsburgh. I just think either way, like this game is not being played enough for the outs we see where these teams can have success against each other. And like, to the Colts' credit, like they've obviously played incredible this year. I'm not sure how good their actual defense truly is because they are just putting teams in a position where they have to be one-dimensional because their offense is so good right now. I'm not saying that they're not good or won't be good in this game, but the spread is only 3 points. So like if the Steelers can keep up, and that's really the key to this game, then could you see a full 4 quarters of Daniel Jones passing, which we haven't seen much this year? Obviously, if that happens, it's going to benefit, Warren and all these guys. So no matter what player you like in this game, I think my answer is probably going to be yes. So I will attack this game in several of my tournament lineups and just kind of hope I land on the right combination.
Yep. This year, Colts games have averaged a combined point total of 53, and the Steelers, 52 points. Those are both top 5 marks. So there's a reason to like this game. Earlier in the week, I was toying around with Steelers plus 3.5. I've changed my tune.
Yeah, I hope the game stays close.
Yes.
My true feeling is I think the Colts will cover the spread or just beat their team total. But either way, man, I guess we're riding or dying with the Colts this week. What could go wrong?
All right, let's take a break, and we'll be right back.
Applebee's new grilled cheese cheeseburger is so cheesy.
Want to try the cheese pull?
Yeah, I'll take this side.
Wow, now this is a cheese pull. Sorry.
I can't believe you get this and another entree like the chicken parmesan fettuccine.
Plus an appetizer for just $25.
Excuse me. This is incredible.
That's why I always come to Applebee's for the 2 for $25 deal.
What?
Limited time price participation and selection may vary. Tax and gratuity excluded.
It's still going.
Come to DSW for the shoes, stay for the fun. Because let's be honest, if shoe shopping isn't fun, are you even doing it right? So go ahead, try something new. Try something different. Good different. Try something that feels like you. The real you. And then definitely brag about it later. Because at DSW, you've got unlimited freedom to play. With sneakers, boots, and everything in between for every style, mood, and occasion, you'll definitely find shoes that get you at prices that get your budget. DSW. Let us surprise you.
All right, we're going to quickly hit really 3 teams that you could onslaught this week, meaning you can play 3, 4, and you're saying this team not only just hits their implied total of 28, 29 points, but you say they go bonkers. So the Lions are the first team I just want to bring up. They're at home against the Vikings, 28.5 point team implied total. I don't really know what the Vikings are. I don't really know what J.J. McCarthy is. Regardless, I think that when I look at the Lions team and the way that they've been putting up points, I could see myself playing a Jared Goff double stack with Jameson Williams or Sam Laporta in there as the who knows if it's the week for them, and hoping this team goes off. I do need to add that Justin Jefferson has been great against the Lions in his career, and I don't think he'll get played very much because of McCarthy and the bad vibes, but I do like the Lions this week if they're a team you want to go in on.
For sure. We talked about some of the running back pivots too. Jahmyr Gibbs might be one of my favorite plays on the slate, just thinking about ceiling relative to how much he'll be played. I don't think he'll get clicked very much this week, and you can run on the Lions. You can have, on the Vikings, explosive plays. They've given up both explosive plays in the run game and actually the pass game too, so it sets up very well for the Lions to take care of business. They're off the bye week, a little bit healthier. I also think Amon-Ra St. Brown is one of those guys who won't get clicked a ton, but when you think about how Flores plays defensively and he's always the blitz beater for Jared Goff, I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is really intriguing as well. And there's been some positive coach speak this week on kind of getting Jameson Williams going. So as much as we kind of joked around early at the start of the show, and I mentioned on Tuesday, I was like, man, $4,800 for Jameson Williams. Take a shot. And
I will be playing him this week.
For sure. Take a shot if he's low rostered. Just zoom out, bigger sample size of last year. He's talented. He can rip off a big play. So yeah, if the roster percentage is low, I'll have some Jameson Williams this week.
You can also play Green Bay. They are heavy favorites. They have been 13-plus point favorites 21 times at Lambeau over the last 30 years. Betz. Do you know that they lost one time in 2018 to a quarterback named Josh Rosen?
How was that possible?
Dude, it was hilarious. But Jordan Love was great on Sunday night. I think the hardest part of this team is that they're just so spread out. But if you wanted to play at least 2 Packers, let's say you didn't want to stack up Jordan Love, but you want to play 2 Packers and you think that the touchdowns flow there, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, quietly, the Packers have had a positive pass rate over expectation in 3 weeks in a row out of the bye week. So, and we talked about this in best ball season, right? Where it's like, do they want to be run heavy or do they want to actually be more of a drop back team? I still don't really know where they lie in that because when they're not pushed, as we talked about in the second half, they will feed the running backs. Obviously, the game script here says they probably will feed the running backs, but in the first half, or as long as the game is somewhat competitive, I do think you'll see a lot of efficiency from Jordan Love. The concern, of course, is just how many dropbacks you get in the second half. But for me, that leads me to taking a shot on some of the low-rostered pieces on Green Bay. Josh Jacobs is fine, but I do think he's probably banged up here a little bit, not truly 100%. So I don't mind taking a shot in a tournament on some of the pass catchers. We talked about the tight ends. Tucker Kraft will not get played. The Panthers have been absolutely destroyed by tight ends as far as efficiency goes, so I am interested in him as a pivot in tournaments as well.
All right, and then the Rams are the other team this week that, coming out of the bye, should be in a really, really good spot at home. Stafford's been really, really good this year. I've enjoyed watching him play throughout the year. The Saints blitz a ton, and Stafford leads the NFL in passing touchdowns against the blitz this year. He has 12. I think it's no shocker that we would say Puka's a great play. But if you want to play Kyron and the Rams defense together, it's another way just to approach this game and say Kyron gets 2 touchdowns. Tyler Shuck is not up to task, and you could just move on from there. But it's hard when I look at these games because I see their implied point totals and I go, man, I want to run to these teams. It's Stafford's a 0 on the ground. Am I really going to be able to match the output of some of these other quarterbacks in the slate?
Yeah, that's a good point. And, I don't want to say that Tyler Shuck is going to help this game go back and forth because I'd be pretty surprised by that. But the goal for New Orleans right now is to get a look at Tyler Shuck. That's the goal for the rest of the season, right? Is try to figure out, hey, we spent the 40th overall pick on this guy. Could he be the answer? So if they are behind, I don't think you're going to see them just hand it off and let's move on to next week and we'll recircle and figure it out. They're going to get him volume and see if they have an answer in here. Last week when he came in for Rattler, he got off 30 pass attempts in basically half a game. So on DraftKings full PPR, call me a sicko. I do think if you did want to play a Ram stack, you could still play one of Olave and Shaheed and just hope they catch 6, 7, 8 balls and maybe hit the 100-yard bonus. Like, you don't even need a touchdown for them to pay off with their salary. So they're intriguing to me, but on FanDuel, where like so much of your scoring comes from touchdowns, I don't think I'll have any Saints exposure this week.
All right, let's jump into our slate breakers.
Slate Breaker of the Week.
Your pick absolutely shocks me. Just dumbfounded how you could think to put this player on there.
I know, Kyle. Well, I've come around. I've listened to you all summer. You said this guy's a good pick. And I agree. I'm going to play Rashee Rice a lot this week. I think he just sets up so well here for the matchup. We know Kansas City, the pass rate will be there. We know they're going to throw in the red zone. We know the Bills love to put those too high shells up and not let you beat them over the top. Rashee Rice and Pat Mahomes are going to say that's fine. Let him get 5, 6, 7, 8 catches in this game and go to work after the catch. So I do love this spot for Rashee Rice. Huge game. They're not going to be able to win this without Mahomes and Rice doing their thing. So I will play Rashee Rice. And I do think if you start with him in your flex, you can also use James Cook in the same spot as a late swap pivot if you're behind and need to get off chalk. I wanted to point out I love James Cook this week as well, but I'm going to go with Rashee Rice for my official slate breaker this week.
All right, I'm going to cheat and just say the entire Colts team.
Which one? Come on, give us a guy.
Just literally everybody on the team I could make a case for.
Ashton Dulin?
And the way...
A.D. Mitchell.
In my 88 team league, Ashton Dulin is awesome. But you could play this so many different ways. We talked about the roster percentages not being as high. We talked about the Steelers defense, talked about single high safety looks. Any way you want to break it, you and I are both very in on Alec Pierce this week. If you wanted to play John Taylor, Alec Pierce, and then bring it back on the other side with Metcalf or Austin or Jaylen Warren, I love that. But I think there are so many different ways and different combinations. So like one of my stances, please don't be in this tournament with me, is I will be in a 20 max and I'm just going to play Colts lineups. Like as in like, I don't know all the combinations. It might be a pity city week again. I will say that Tyler Warren and Jonathan Taylor have pretty negative correlation through 8 games together. The correlation coefficient is negative 0.61.
Nerd.
So I know it's not great. But Alec Pierce is actually his highest.
Well.
Dude keeps showing up, man.
DFS is such a weird thing.
Because you and I were so out on Alec Pierce a year or two ago.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is the 9 route guy.
And now we're like, Alec Pierce. He's actually played very well this year, to his credit.
Yeah, no, Jameson could learn a thing or two.
Jameson wishes he was Alec Pierce.
Yeah, okay, I'm just going to tell you this right now, just so everyone's very clear. Jameson will probably have a very good week, and he will probably have a better rest of season, okay? What he's done so far is doo-doo. And yet, I think what he can be is very different. Just need to say that, because I know there's going to be people like, you hate Jameson. Like, no, I like Jameson. I don't like how he's used in fantasy.
Yeah, it's very different this year with the new OC, but they've talked a lot about getting him going here, coming out of the bye. I think it's smart to play some this week.
All right, here we go.
Prop it like it's hot.
Oh, last week I had our first official loss on the podcast.
Well, really, it's Jeremy's fault.
That's true. So if we don't include the week that Rich was on with you, and we don't include the prop that Jeremy held me down and said, you have to do this on the podcast, then we're doing just fine.
That's
you had
right.
Tucker Kraft's over. He went way over.
That was like the only thing we got right last week. He cashed it in, I think, in the first quarter. Again, the matchup for Tyler Warren. Tucker Kraft after the catch, Tyler Warren after the catch should be great. But I'm going back to my roots, Kyle. I've given out too many overs. We're going to go under.
Okay.
I'll take Jordan Mason, under 38.5 rushing yards. You got game script concerns as 8.5 point underdogs against Detroit. Aaron Jones is obviously back now. Jones actually had more carries last week than Jordan Mason. The offensive line is still banged up. It's not sure if J.J. McCarthy can sustain drives and move the offense. The Detroit Lions are getting healthier on the defensive side of the ball. So there's just a lot of signs here pointing to an under on Jordan Mason. For context, his rush attempts line is only 9.5. The market is certainly not expecting a lot of workload here for Jordan Mason. So give me under 38.5 rushing yards.
I'm going to take Sam Darnold over. I know it's really fun on his passing yards.
Sick.
Okay,
You are sick.
Washington is dead last in the NFL in yards per attempt allowed. They play a ton of man coverage, a ton of single high safety looks, where Sam Darnold has the second highest fantasy points per dropback in the entire NFL behind only Lamar Jackson. He's been better than Drake May against some of those looks this year. He's hit this in 3 of his last 4 and all 3 on the road this year. So I think he's a really good setup this week to hit the over on his passing line coming out of the bye.
I like it. I think the tricky thing here is I really hope the Commanders push back with Jane Daniels, but like the Commanders, like they need to win badly to get their season back on track. I kind of feel like the Seahawks roll here, but that's just my take. But I love the over. I think he can be highly efficient, even if the raw pass attempts aren't there.
I do think that there's other routes to go. Like if you want to do his longest pass completion, that one's also interesting.
I do like that.
But anyway, we're going to take it somewhere there. All right, one more segment.
Well, if you take a look at this, I tented my pants.
We are still surviving our survivor pool pick. It's gone really well this season. It's been fruitful for the people. And in week 9, we are choosing the Rams. I haven't thought about it twice. We picked it and we've moved on. Do you have it locked in?
It's been locked in since Sunday evening. Yes.
Okay, good.
And barring any unforeseen circumstances, I don't think we're going to change it. They will be extremely popular this week. Hard not to agree with the market. 2 touchdown favorites against Tyler Shuck making his first start against the Rams team coming out of the bye. Saints are on the road. Hey, if Tyler Shuck beats us, he beats us.
Yeah, no, I will be totally fine if we lose from Sean McVay coming out of the bye to Tyler Shuck. I'll just go, okay, like that's what happened.
I mean, if that happens, the Tuesday podcast might be canceled, but that's what we're going with this week. Yeah, it's a tricky week for Survivor because like you root for chaos in the NFL when you're picking certain teams, but this week there's so many good options, right?
I think this is going to be one of those weeks where we look at the field and we go, well, there's 2% of the field gone, as opposed to last week was like 30 or 40%.
Yeah, for sure. You could play the Rams. I think the Chargers are fine. The Packers. I mean, there's so many big spreads on this slate. Like you said, I don't think a lot of people are going to get knocked out. So let's just hopefully move on to week 10 and we'll circle back next week.
That's going to do it for this episode. Make sure you check out everything we have, dfspass.com. Hope that you and your family have a good Halloween weekend. And Betz, sign us off.
Yes, sir. Happy Halloween to all of you out there. Enjoy all of the football, all of the candy, all of the Colts in your DFS lineups. Good luck this weekend. We'll catch you on Tuesday. We'll see you then.
Thank you for listening to another edition of the Fantasy Footballers DFS and Betting Podcast. Don't forget to visit us on the web at thefantasyfootballers.com.
Applebee's new grilled cheese cheeseburger is so cheesy.
Want to try the cheese pull?
Yeah, I'll take this side.
Wow, now this is a cheese pull. Sorry.
I can't believe you get this and another entree like the chicken parmesan fettuccine.
Plus an appetizer for just $25.
Excuse me. This is incredible.
That's why I always come to Applebee's for the 2 for $25 deal.
What?
Limited time price participation and selection may vary. Tax and gratuity excluded.
It's